Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to my Venus series. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the self-worth of Venus in Libra. Now this video can also resonate if you have the sign of Libra ruling your second house as well, okay? Now before we do get started, if you would like to know more information about the Venus signs and the Venus houses, as well as the Taurus house and the second house within astrology amongst other things, then I have created a Taurus season/archetype ebook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a link to that ebook in the description box below so that you can pick up your copy today. So with all of those introductions out of the way, Venus in Libra/Libra ruling the second house, let's do this. So let's start off by describing the second house within astrology. Now the second house can provide us with an indication into how our identity and security is formed based upon the things that we attach ourselves to, whether they be money, materials, people, or the belief systems that we have and so on. It's the second house that can really be viewed as the stage in our lives or the time in our lives by which we begin to become more consciously aware of our bodies. And according to Howard Saspertaz, from around 6 months old we start to recognize that we have a body, but further research can suggest that we start to become self-aware from around 18 months old. Therefore, it is from the second house that we start to build upon who we are based upon the material world and how we essentially reflect on the material world. So you could say that the products and the materials and items that you possess, they are essentially a reflection of yourself, because they can reflect things about you, such as your likes, your dislikes, your style, your taste, and so on. All these very Phoenician types of things. But they can also reflect your financial situation and your skills and your talents as well. So for example, purchasing a $20 sweater over a $100 sweater, which this one is like really cheap. Well, it's going to reflect then potentially how much money you're earning or making. But then also, would you really be able to own that new sweater, right, if you were not skilled within the particular job that you're working at in order to buy it in the first place? Basically, it is from the second house that we form our own sense of self-worth and value. So who do you value? What do you value? Do you value yourself and others? And what is your self-worth based upon, and why? Ultimately, this is about you going outside of yourself in order to discover what is located within yourself. Alright, so what we notice here, for those of you with these placements, so Venus and Libra, or Libra ruling the second house, by which I'm going to refer to as Libra throughout this video, we notice that the material items and financial security for you was potentially provided for in a rather balanced and harmonious way. So, for example, let's say you had another sibling growing up. Well, your financial provider made sure to give and provide equally to each of you individually. Then again, it might have been that you had more siblings, and so your financial provider felt like things was just this whole balancing act. There they were, spinning so many plates at one time, trying to provide for you and your family. But still, even if you were, for example, an only child, okay, maybe the financial provider had other children that were born to another partner, or maybe your financial provider was the type of person who really valued courtship and marriage, and so they would equally give just as much of their time and their energy and their efforts to their spouse or their partner as well. You know what they say, a happy wife means a happy life. Though with that in mind, I just want to share a quick experience of my own, because I have Libra ruling my second house. I come from a family of 6, so there's 6 of us all together, and my father, he was mostly the financial provider because he was the working man within my household, whereas my mum would stay at home, so she was a stay-at-home housewife. Of course, I mean, six kids, that's a lot of kids. But yeah, he was very well balanced in how he distributed the money and finances equally with us. I remember one time going on the computer and opening up this document. It had pretty much all the budgets that he had laid out on this table. So there were our names across it, and yeah, I feel like from seeing that I was able to notice just how much my dad really cared about providing for each of us individually. However, Libra, just because finances and security seem to have been more balanced in that way, it didn't necessarily mean that it was fair. Oh yes, Libra, it seems as if there was or had been some false behaviors or passive behaviors or pretty fake, phony behaviors when it came to how you were provided for growing up. Or maybe it's that there was some indecision. For example, maybe your financial provider would let on to you and your family that, oh yeah, your finances are great, you know, work's going great, whilst unknowingly things were not fine. Things might have actually been the opposite of what they were letting things on to be. So, above the surface, to you, things were harmonious. But yet, the scales of Libra were tipping far too much to one side, resulting in a financial provider not being fully honest due to A, not wanting to alarm or disrupt the harmony within your household, or B, because they didn't really like the thought of dependency. Now, it could have been that there was a situation that might have played out, Libra, between you and your financial provider's partner. So possibly your father was the working person, your mother was the stay-at-home person, or vice versa. Or it could have been a matter of step parents coming into play here. So whatever way this sort of mixed and matched together, you and this other person or partner basically might have had disagreements over you either trying to have things your way or over the partner trying to have things their way. Yes, this could have been a step parent, for example, getting in between you and your biological parent in that way, or perhaps a spouse or partner would passively try to assert their authority and you picked up on the really shallow, really petty behavior. Then again, this could have been out of jealousy, or it could have been out of a superficial understanding of finances and materials. Maybe even on that note, the financial provider was just extremely superficial when it came to the finances and when it came to how they earn money. Or it could even be here a matter of, Libra, you not really understanding why it was that a particular financial provider would wear certain items of clothing. So for example, they may come to you and ask you for your opinion about a dress they're wearing or a certain shirt that they're wearing, and you might have thought to yourself, like, no, but then as you grow older, you might have actually grown to appreciate the clothing or the style of that person. Or it might be that you still don't appreciate the style of that person, all whilst you smile. You know, you just put on this really false smile and inform that person that yes mom, that looks great on you, it looks great. Though still, with all that being said, Libra, when it actually does come to your spending habits in this way, you might also possess this similar approach of harmony and balance. For example, you might not spend money on something if you don't have that money. So when it comes to credit cards here, you may just say no, don't want a credit card, no way. Then again, you might also be the type of Libra who's actually pretty smart in this way, where actually you get the credit card and what you do is you build up your credit for in case you then later need that credit. So rather than completely not having it at all, you get it, but then you're just very fair about it. You make sure that I'm only going to use this credit card so that As soon as I use it, I can transfer my debit into the credit. And you also might be very good when it comes to actually managing and budgeting your finances in that way, and also when it comes to the materials that you have. So for example, you might be that type of Libra who you can just sense whenever you've accumulated just too many clothes, and so you're good at doing a clear out every now and then. Or you might be the type of Libra who you know what sort of food you have in your fridge or in your cupboards, and so you know exactly, oh, do I need this, do I not need this? So you're able to really just balance that out and manage it all very, very well. Plus, you also might be the type of Libra who isn't really so much about buying cheap or tacky materials, but then again, you also might be the type of Libra who is, especially if that item is beautiful in your eyes. And even when it comes to how you decorate your space, you'll do so with your gorgeous eye of elegance and refinement. Basically, Libra, when it comes to the physical and material world, you like to keep everything in a healthy balance, and if anything happens to disrupt that balance, well, this is when things get pretty interesting. Because what might happen is you might then become superficial and false and a little bit indecisive yourself. So let's actually bring this into a relationship setting, okay? So let's get that side of things here. For an example's sake, you might be having a discussion with someone that you just met, and things are going really well. They're going really well. But then that person keeps talking on, you know, they're just talking for ages and ages, and you simply, Libra, you cannot get away from this person. But instead of saying that you want to leave or that you've got to go, you sit there listening, but also not listening, just thinking, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go. But your body is still there with that person. Meaning, Libra, that this right here is passive behavior, because whilst you're trying to create harmony within your social interactions with others, you're also not really creating harmony within yourself. Because what happens is that it gets to a point where it's no longer enjoyable. It's no longer pleasurable for you. See, the thing is here, Libra, is that you have the tendency of withholding your thoughts and opinions and your own sort of ideals for justice from others. So instead, you can actually create a really false sense of harmony around you and others. And also, like I said, when it comes to yourself, when it comes to your self-worth here, Libra, it's about you learning to pick up on those times whenever you do this. Because what's important to keep in mind here is that if this happens during a time by which you need, like you really need to speak up, where you're required to speak up, Libra, then this can leave you feeling more out of balance than you did before. It's you, Libra, that might actually have the tendency of placing your self-worth into the approval, into the appraisal of others. And if you do this, you should be aware of the potential implications and pitfalls that can come with this approach. For example, right? A situation can happen where you and your spouse in the future, you're trying to manage your finances together as a couple. Which, by the way, if you have Libra ruling the second house, you're also going to have Aries ruling the house opposite, which is the 8th house. So essentially here, you might depend on that partner to provide for the both of you, or the partner might depend on you to provide for the both of you. And this strategy in itself, well, of course, it can potentially lead to arguments and disputes between the two of you. I mean, say for example here, Libra, that you depend on your partner to provide for the both of you. But who's to say that that partner will not face a potential financial difficulty themselves? And so if they face financial difficulty and you have not taken responsibility for your side of things, then yeah, you do the math. But you know what? I'm not going to completely write this off because there are many ways that this could play out and I do not know your personal situation. Though still, you know what? With these placements, it could also suggest that you're going to be that type of Libra who sees that union, sees that partnership as a team where the two of you have each other's backs, right? Both parties know their role, know their position, where they both support each other, and where they're just really there for one another, you know, through better and for worse and all that. Though ultimately, when it does come to your self-worth, Libra, you are learning how to validate your own self-worth. So take the finances, for example, here. Asking yourself how it is that you manage and save your finances, or is it that you depend on another person to provide these things for you? Also, when it comes to your beauty, is it that you depend on other people to validate your beauty, or is it that you validate your own beauty? Furthermore, when it comes to your skills and your talents, is it that you validate the certain talents and skills that you have, or is it that you depend on other people to communicate back to you? Well done, Libra. Good job. Good job, Libra. Plus, when it comes to your opinion towards a certain subject or a topic, do you hope that the other person agrees with you all the time? Whose approval are you seeking below the surface, whilst above the surface, everything is fine and dandy and golden? Now, of course, I am not suggesting here that you should never be validated, because of course, yeah, we all seek validation, we all seek approval, and that's okay to seek approval from other people. But it's also about assessing the times that you do it and being honest with yourself about it. Okay, so cool, you wanted to chat with this guy for 30 minutes about, I don't know, highlighters, pens, matches, soap. But what value did that conversation bring you, Libra? Yeah, sure, okay, cool. You wanted to buy a new sweater, you wanted to buy a new pair of earrings, or you wanted to buy a new pair of shoes, and that's great, that feels good. But do you continuously seek the high? Ultimately, Libra, it is about you developing the courage within yourself in order to really risk it or make a move because you want to, rather than getting all indecisive and in a tiff about whether or not I should do that, or should I say that thing, or should I not say that thing. And by doing so, you might actually feel more empowered, where you openly share when, for example, you aren't feeling so good today, and so you can actually cancel those plans that you made with your friends or with a partner. Or, for example, whenever you call that person out on their lies, out on their BS. Because you know what, Libra, whenever you share your opinions openly, you will also feel more approving towards yourself. And so you will form a much more solid and consistent sense of self-worth. So whenever you go to accumulate finances, materials, and security, you will do so feeling inner satisfaction as well. And you'll also feel peaceful, knowing that you spoke your truth, but were also fair about the matter. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the self-worth of Venus in Libra / Libra ruling the second house. Now, if you do happen to have any of these placements, I would like to hear from you in the comment section. I would love to know your own sort of experiences and your thoughts and opinions on what I said today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And of course, if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet clicked that subscribe button, then go right ahead. And I will be back with another video.